Hi, welcome to Focus on Finance. I'm your host, Melanie Parker. Focus on Finance is brought to you by the Consumer Education Division of the Right Legacy Group. I'm very excited to welcome Hollie Sexton today from the Abound Credit Union. Share your title with us, Hollie, because I will flub it.
That's okay. And sometimes I'm like, what does that mean? I'm in public relations and financial education, but primarily helping create and grow and increase our partnerships in the community for financial education programs.
Wow. With your background, they knew what they were doing when
thanks.
They brought you in. They absolutely knew. Good job, Abound Credit Union.
Thanks.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right, we want to talk, of course, we focus on finance. We are all about the finance, but our passion is the youth. And so I'm so glad that they chose you to come and hang out with me today and talk about it. You all have some new programs. I've read some stuff in the local paper. Mm-hmm. You have really spearheaded elementary, feeding into middle, feeding into high school. So let's start. What have you all implemented just this month, October of 2020, for the littles, 5th grade actually?
5th grade, that is a great question, and we're very excited about it. We joined with Greg Sutton. He is the instructional, he has a title too that I can't keep up with, because he wears several hats, but he's also director or chief of curriculum over Hardin County Schools.
That's no small feat.
It's not, and he wears other hats too. Right. So if you're watching, Greg Sutton, I'm sorry. Right. I don't know all your titles.
Sure.
But he and Terry Morgan, the superintendent, we're very passionate about finding a way to incorporate the basics of financial education and money management, needs versus wants, and some civics in there as well.
So important.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
And to catch them at the 5th grade level before they get to middle school. And so we already had a program set up at Abound that was digital. We partner with EverFi, and they're based out of DC. So that means that teachers can create a profile, and once they create that profile, they're able to access all of these modules for 5th grade students to learn about civics and financial education and needs versus wants, et cetera. Because this is focus on finance.
Sure.
So we'll talk about
the
finance part.
We're broad spectrum. You have the floor. Whatever you think will benefit. No problem.
And there's also social emotional learning modules in there too, and anti-vaping. And
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
And we found during the pandemic, social emotional became forefront. So not only were they learning about financial education concepts, but also about managing emotions, how to treat others, how to process feelings. So Greg and Ms. Morgan, they saw potential there to use during the pandemic, but also after. Sure. And when we're not in a pandemic, we are able to go in with branch managers, so Abound branch managers in their area. There's a connectivity there. They get to go in and meet the students. We have a pizza party. We play a Jeopardy-style buzzer game.
I'm in. Yeah, they do that right here, HCEC-TV, actually. Yes, it's right over there. Sorry, folks, you can't see it.
But yeah, very much like that. And it's much more interactive, but the benefit of having an online platform is that no matter what happens over the next 6 months, they're still able to learn those financial education concepts.
Great. And interactive, that is the key word. I know there are different kinds of learning and techniques, and everyone has their own style. I can't just sit down with a piece of paper and read it. So I was so glad when I said, hey, Hollie, what are we going to talk about? You sent me links to YouTube videos and all of that, and I printed out some just tangible things here. But I sat down and watched those videos because interactive is key. I'm 50 years old, and I still need that. So I can imagine for a 5th grader, you give them a buzzer and some pizza, and they're going to learn a little something.
They are. And the model is based on being in the classroom, so having that FaceTime. But ideally, the 5th grade teacher creates the profile, they load the modules that they want to teach or that they want students to do, and students can do this. They can put it in as part of their regular daily curriculum, or they can cover these modules over a period of, like, do you remember Oregon Trail?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
everybody got dysentery and died.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Or some people won.
Sure.
But Oregon Trail was like a reward time. Like if you got done with an assignment early, or if you got a good grade on a quiz, you got to go play Oregon Trail. Some teachers use it as an incentive in their classroom as well.
Okay.
So they say, okay, if you get an A or B on this assignment, then you get to get on the computer and log in to Abound's
That's
modules.
great incentive, and that's tricky. That's kind of like, oh, this broccoli is a treat. You only get this broccoli if you do A, B, and C, but you get some ranch with it. You know what I'm saying? That's good. They're learning, but if you treat it as a reward, that's pretty smart, because ultimately, once you are a seasoned person, responsibility finances are a reward. So
they are. That is so true. Yes. They really are.
And you know, at this age, for me, as a grandmother, using my money I don't enjoy it as much as I like really just having it somewhere. We go through transitions.
We do.
Definitely. Yeah. But I think that you are really onto something. Thanks. For the 5th grade. That is perfect, I think. And getting them ready, because you all feed into something that you sponsor as well at middle school age, correct?
Yep, teachers and administrators can also access as well at aboundcu.com. Just click the Learn tab there. They can also access the modules to use for free. Wow. And when I say for free, it means that Abound cares about financial education across Kentucky.
Obviously,
yeah. And so the board members got together with other credit unions across the state, and they said, how can we have a responsibility, first of all.
Sure.
Second of all, how can we bring in something that's user-friendly for teachers and that's easy for students, digestible, speaking of broccoli, with ranch, that it's digestible. Yeah. And they really put a commitment there. And so when I say free, I mean Abound and other credit unions and other nonprofits across the state put money in, and for-profits too.
Sure.
Put money in to pay for this platform.
Right.
So that means that if someone is a teacher and they have a, say for instance, Hardin County Schools, they have a teacher address or a Kentucky Schools address, they can create their own profile and go in there and use it for free.
I love that. Yeah. My oldest daughter is a teacher. And
she can access it.
Yes. Yeah. She is at let me think, she just moved. She was teaching high school. Now she's at the middle school level. Teaching civics and those types of things.
Oh, so, perfect. Yeah, that would be great for her to use. And again, she could also have access to the social emotional learning and anti-vaping. And there's also health modules on there about taking care of your body and your mind. And it's especially important now that educators and parents are focused on social emotional as well.
And that goes the whole gamut, from littles all the way up beyond myself even.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a whole new world.
It is.
Yes.
And that's part of it. Like I loved how you said that. I'm going to have to write that down about how it's a pleasure, or it makes your life more enjoyable to have good financial health.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I see that at our office regularly. People come in with some concerns, and I'm 99.999% of the time they're walking out with a smile, and that it's just about security and comfort. And if a 5th grader isn't aware of that, and I don't know that you could even teach that, but that's that stepping stone. When mine were little and they were spaced out 10 years, there were 3 of them, I took them with me to pay the water bill. I took them with me to the grocery store. I was a single mom, and they wanted these grandiose things, and I wanted to give them those things. I truly did. But it was important for me, instead of just saying no, let me show you why, and it's a no. And so I'd say, this is how much money we have. We're going to pay the water bill. We're going to pay the electric bill. We're going to go pay our rent. We're going to the grocery store. This is what we have left. Now, what can we do?
Yeah, so you were giving lessons about discretionary income like way early, and modeling is so important. But we have to remember that there are so many youth in Kentucky that don't have any sort of financial modeling.
Right.
or they have modeling and it may not necessarily be healthy. And there's no blame there. It's, we know, and that's why we're putting so much energy and
I love that
into financial education,
Yes.
because we know that people have not had that training. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And so we
Right.
also teach without judgment. There's, and I'm sure just like you, when someone comes in and meets with you or meets with Wright, there's no judgment there.
Oh,
It's
absolutely
just
not.
this is where we are.
Yes.
Where do we want to go?
And that's exactly
and how
what
are we going to
do.
get there?
Yes, yes, exactly. Tell us what your goals are, and we will help you create a path.
Yeah.
12 years ago, when I started the Right Legacy Group, I did not even know what a portfolio was, genuinely. Yeah. And here I am going to market for this financial advisor. I learned a lot really fast, and I'm still learning every day. And what I like,
it changes all the time, though,
it
especially if you're
does.
talking about investing
Yes.
or retirement,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
IRAs, it changes all
Yes,
the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. What I like, I did some digging around on your website, and there is a lot there for adults as well.
Yeah.
Once again, there's no shame in this game. You don't
It's
know
for
what
everyone.
you don't know, like you said. So you have calculators where you can go in. Well, I'll let you tell it. You
Okay,
know more
sure.
about it than I do as far as the calculators.
Yeah, if and obviously you visited Abound CU, as in credit union, so aboundcu.com/learn/understanding, or like I said, if you just go to aboundcu.com and click the Learn tab. But there's calculators for instance, if you want to figure out if you can refinance your vehicle, because if someone has a high interest rate on their vehicle and they want to refinance, they can save hundreds of dollars a month and then thousands of dollars over the life of their loan.
It adds up.
It does add up.
Yes.
So you can find out if you could refinance there, if there's a vehicle that you want to buy, a home. It's fun too, just to get on there and do scenarios with it.
I do that often when I'm daydreaming. Yes.
Yes, if you're daydreaming or you're planning. So you want to plan a trip.
Right.
I've got to travel overseas. I've never stamped my passport. And so I went to the calculator on the Abound website, and I figured out how much I needed to save per month for how many years to be able to go on my trip.
Right.
And
it's
also,
so much easier than with pen and paper. Telling my age once again. But
Yeah.
that is phenomenal.
It is, and it gives you the entire layout, and
Yes.
you can play with percentage rates and all that stuff. We also have retirement calculators.
Those
so
are
again,
huge.
this is for all ages.
Yes.
And one thing I want to mention too is we're working on compound interest curriculum. That's another thing that we're doing. We have this partnership with the digital learning, but we're also doing presentations, for instance, with Way to Work. Are you familiar with Way to Work?
Slightly.
Okay.
Slightly.
Way to Work was born out of United Way of Central Kentucky and Goodwill Industries.
Awesome.
And sometimes we'll have 1 or 2 in a class, sometimes we'll have 10.
And what's the average age for that?
It runs anywhere from 18 to 90.
Wow.
And these are people, some of them have been incarcerated and have no model for financial education or soft skills or any of that. It's Way to Work is such a well-rounded program, and it precedes me. Abound was part of it before I came along, but we're developing more content and curriculum to educate about compound interest. And I'm sure you're familiar with compound interest, but how it can impact those who are 50 and still be beneficial.
Right.
And for those who are just starting out at 18 years old with their first job, how if they invest just a little bit every month, how that compound interest can help them retire with over $1 million.
Right.
And I think if people truly knew the power that they had with just saving a little bit, it would improve lives
at a young
tremendously.
age. I agree.
Yeah.
My young adult children, whenever they
I didn't
start a
know.
new job,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I had no idea.
When I was in my 20s with small children, I was working to keep the lights on.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
that was my, hot meals and keep the lights on was my life.
Yeah.
That was my goal. But looking back, I wish I had done more. Taken advantage of the 401k matches at jobs,
Yes, employer
and those
matching.
kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure.
It's free money.
Yeah.
It literally is free money. And back then, would I have missed that $20 a month? No. But at the time, I thought that was a lot of money,
Yeah.
you know? So I love that people can go to some place like you all, to your website, and do scenarios and daydream, or actually put things into fruition and see where they can be, project their future. A little bit now can mean a whole lot later. And you all, by education programs like what you all are doing, starting very little, you get those toggles moving.
For sure.
And
yeah.
that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're so right. And that's even a reminder for those of us who, it doesn't matter if you're trying to lose weight, like what you're trying to do,
Right.
incremental changes.
Goals.
And having SMART goals over a period of time can help you get there. But it can feel so daunting to people,
Yes.
Especially people approaching retirement. Again, there are so many options out there.
Right.
So don't give up.
No, absolutely. It's never too late.
It's never too late.
You know, I don't care if you're 70 years old. There's something you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what a beautiful thing to start at 10, 11 years old.
For
It's a
sure.
beautiful thing, because mom and dads are working to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And it is wonderful that not only the school system is getting involved, but that a third entity like Abound Credit Union is getting involved. Involved.
Yeah, well, we see the need, and just like Hardin County Schools, we know there's a need, but we also know that we have a responsibility to our community.
Responsibility is a huge word in our society now.
Yeah.
It really is. And do you all as a business directly benefit from educating this 10, 11-year-old, this fifth grader? No. But morally, you all are invested, and I love that. I really, really do.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah.
Wow. Kudos to Abound Credit Union.
Yeah, thank you.
While we are throwing out credit union, real quick, because I always try to assume that maybe the watchers don't know. What's the difference between a credit union and a bank?
That's a good question, because I didn't know either.
Right.
I was a member for a long time because I got a low auto rate.
There you go.
But other than that, I didn't participate in electing board members or anything like that. I was a very passive member. It's similar to Nolan RECC and Kentucky Utilities.
Right.
We are a cooperative, we're a not-for-profit, and we are member-owned.
Gotcha.
And we have a board that is elected by the members that participate.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I had to learn that my first few weeks. It was like, what's the difference? They do have a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities between banks and credit unions, but credit unions, again, they are member-owned, and
They're governed differently.
They're governed differently, and I feel like there's that responsibility to the community and to the members.
I like that.
And we have so many members, grandparents, parents who are members whose children are in fifth grade at Hardin County Schools.
Right.
And we know that some of them are getting that model of healthy early childhood education when it comes to finances, but some of them aren't.
Sure.
And so what I'm hearing from these students, and we get quotes every now and then when teachers ask what their experience was, it makes them more aware of some of the things their parents talk about. Like you were talking about how you would take your kids and say, okay, we have to pay this bill, and these are our needs.
Right.
And we pay our needs first.
Sure.
And then after that, okay, we have this discretionary income. Is it fun money, or do we save it? What do we do with this money? And so a lot of them just going through the program has made them more cognizant of what their parents are saying. For instance, my son sometimes, and he'll embarrass me sometimes.
That's what kids do.
Yeah, they do.
And we embarrass them.
We do
Yeah, my kids will tell you all about that. Yeah.
but he's in fifth grade, and he will be out somewhere and say we're at Target, and he's like, he'll say, I want that. And I'll say, well, I don't have the money for that. And he goes, oh, you don't have the money in the bank or in your credit card?
All you gotta do is write a check.
Yeah, or he's like,
you got checks?
just use your credit card.
Right.
And I'm like, and so he and I, we've had to have several conversations about needs and wants, but also, hey, if I take this out on a credit card, not only it's not free money.
No.
I have to pay it back, and I have to pay it back with interest.
Interest. Yes.
And just those basics. And we're having those conversations now because he's taken the modules.
Fundamentals.
Yeah,
Learning
absolutely.
the fundamentals.
He's paying attention.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well,
Yeah. It's hard to get a 10-year-old boy to pay attention.
Yeah, that in itself is, you're doing good, Mom.
Thanks.
You're doing good. Yeah. So start at 5th grade, go to middle school, and on to high school.
Yep.
When parents want to get involved, and we so encourage parents to get involved.
Oh, for sure.
Let's not leave this up to the school system. You know, I mean, yes, they're there and they have a level of responsibility, but so do the parents, ultimately. And not everyone has access to the internet and all of that. That's a thing now, too. Parents can go in there, correct?
Absolutely.
Maybe learn something for themselves and sit down with Johnny or Jenny and teach them as well.
Absolutely. If they go to aboundcu.com and they click the Learn tab, there are headlines. For instance, I think it starts with basic budgeting or something like that. But anyway, you can go through and take those. They're 5 to 7 minutes. So what if someone watching, what if a viewer put 5 minutes a week in?
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
5 minutes while you're waiting in car rider line.
Yeah,
or
well, then that's the
while
attention
you're waiting
span of a 5th grader.
while you're waiting for Kroger pickup or where, 5 minutes. And it's mobile capable too, so you can do it from your phone. Do one of those modules.
Right.
And you will raise your financial IQ, and you'll start to see, whether you like it or not, you'll start to see the good habits that you have, and you'll see the bad habits that you have.
Yeah,
and
we all have
you'll
them.
start to, absolutely.
There's no shame. Nobody is perfect.
No
and
judgment.
we learn, we never stop learning.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are available, and we recommend that for ages 13 and up.
Okay.
So 5 minutes a week, 5 to 7 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that every parent, their ultimate goal is for their kid to be better, to do better than they did. And that's where it starts, because I certainly didn't have access to a Learn tab on a website about finances or anything else when I was growing up. It was all flashcards for me.
Yeah.
But
did you have financial education in school?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, my father was he was in the military. He was very invested, literally, in the stock market and those types of things. So we had breakfast conversations, and I would glaze over because he talked way up here.
Yeah.
But he tried. He tried.
He talked bulls and bears.
Yes. And I'm like, pass the milk, But the seeds were planted. At that point. We've had shows in the past where we've talked about coming from the generation before myself and even my generation, and maybe more, you're a little younger than me, your generation, parents didn't talk about finances. You just didn't do it.
No, actually, I believe my mother said it was rude to talk about money.
You don't talk about money.
And until my 30s, I even, I remember going out on a date with a guy, and he was like, "So, what do you make?" And I was like, first of all, that's super rude.
Right. And no second date for you.
No second date for you. But then it made me examine myself and say, yeah, that maybe wasn't the context for that to happen.
Right.
But I was just taught that you don't talk about money.
Exactly.
It's just something you keep to yourself. It's private.
It's important for us to have conversations with our kids about personal stuff. Do my adult children know, what my gross and net? No. But they know what my investments are. They know my insurance. They know where my paperwork is. They know all of that. If they were interested, I would have that conversation with them about what I make and how I've worked hard to get where I am and all of that. I'll be happy to share that with them.
Look at my spreadsheet.
Right. Literally, I do. I have guilty. I have a spreadsheet that I love to highlight every month. Oh, the electric bill came out. Let's highlight that. The type A personality here. Warm fuzzy, but type A.
For sure.
And we really, really need to encourage, and I think that's what you all are spearheading, conversations about money.
Yeah.
Finances, personal finances, and just money as a whole. And when you're 10, 11 years old, are you thinking about retirement? No. But you all are planting seeds with that Learn tab. That's what it comes down to. If we're going to glean anything from all of this, it's going to be the Abound Credit Union Learn tab.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's what it comes down to, I think. And parents wanting better for their kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And the resources are there. And again, as far as time commitment goes, 5 to 7 minutes. And also conditioning ourselves and our generation, as you mentioned, to have those conversations that can be tough sometimes. Right. And you don't have to get super specific. And it can actually be aspirational. It could be like, hey, you want to be a millionaire? Let's figure it out.
Exactly.
Because here's the compound interest chart, and just plug your name in right there.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's true. So and ask them, it's all relative. You talked about the emotional growth and finance and all of that. Self-esteem is involved in all of that. It's a great...
It is, and you get confidence.
Yes.
You know that,
yes.
and I know that. When you start to manage your money in a way that's healthy, that's a win.
It is.
And you feel really good about yourself.
It is. And after raising my children and doing what I had to do and starting my portfolio, I have that portfolio app on my phone, and type A, I look at it every day. And the boss man says, Melanie, stop looking at your stocks every day, and I can't help myself. They're different personalities, and you're like, oh, I lost $3 today, or woohoo, I'm up 20. But it just, I enjoy it because I did it. I have that portfolio.
Yeah.
And people don't have to start with thousands and thousands of dollars. You can start very little and check it every day like me.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Take your time, and every now and our office manager Julie, polar opposite of myself, she's like, I check mine every 6 months. I can't imagine that. But everybody's different. And it starts with that Learn tab.
Thank you very much.
It really, really does.
I appreciate you sharing that. That's really nice.
It really is.
Because we want people to, again, to not feel judged, to meet them where they are, and also to say this resource is available to you. It's very handy and it's quick, and you're going to come away with something that's going to empower you.
Sure.
Because knowledge is power. We know that.
Absolutely.
And a way to empower yourself.
Yeah. And folks can go in there, and nobody's watching.
No.
It's private. It's personal. Nobody knows what you know, what you don't know. Nobody's really worried about it, even though it feels like it sometimes. Yeah. No one's worried about that. And just go in and educate yourself. This started out talking about the 5th graders, but now I'm like, hey, folks.
We're full service.
Yes, we are.
And right now, during the pandemic, we're doing virtual financial education presentations.
Wonderful.
And people are reaching out to us and saying, hey, our group needs this, or can you provide that? Again, we highly suggest sending them to the website. Those are things that classrooms are using for free. For instance, we have a partnership with HCEC-TV with their FYE students, which is first-year experience. Those are freshmen. Yeah, we're catching them right as they come out of high school.
Perfect.
And you were talking about middle school and high school. There is a benefit to joining in middle school or high school, becoming a member, which is $5.
Great.
And if you're a member in good standing for 6 months or longer, you can apply for one of our 10 scholarships. They're $2,500 each.
Wow.
We give away 10 $2,500 scholarships. Yeah.
That's books plus.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
And that's the best day at work for me, too, is when I get to write on that big check.
Yes. You get to write on the big check?
I get to write on the big check. And my penmanship's not great, but let me tell you, I love writing that, too. And that 500 on there, and being able to hand that off to a student.
That is the coolest thing, to write on that big check.
Yeah.
And to give it to somebody. Wow. That's cool. You got a cool job,
I know,
Hollie.
it's really cool. That's
neat.
my best day.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Best day of the year.
Yeah. Girl, I could talk to you all day, but we are out of time.
Are we out of time?
We are out of time.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We're going to have you come back for part 2.
I'd love to do that.
Anytime. You're welcome anytime. So that's it, folks. Thanks to Hollie Sexton with the Abound Credit Union. We appreciate you all. We appreciate that Learn tab. I challenge you to do it for yourself. Do it with your children. Do it with your grandchildren. Just get in there and learn something new today. I challenge you to do that. Thank you for your time. I'm Melanie Parker.